Hey guys, last time we talked about whole steps and half steps and how certain chords have numbers within that scale, like your major fourth and your major fifth, which are very common chords in that key. Today we're going to go a little bit deeper into that. So starting on a quick review, the key of C. They're all white keys. It's simple. There's no black keys. It's very easy for a lot of musicians. It's a very common key for a lot of choirs and other big music stuff. Now in the key of C, again, we have no black notes, but we do still have whole steps and half steps. And if you remember, a whole step is when there's a black key in between them. So like a C to a D or a G to an A to a B. Most of the notes actually are whole steps. Whole steps. Now there's a half step, which is just a white key to a white key without a black key in the middle. Those happen between the third and the fourth and the seventh and the eighth. So in the key of C, that'd be an E to an F and then a B to a C. Those are half steps. Now if we were to take that to the key of G, which, talking back on our transposing, let's say we had a 1-4-1-5 chord progression, which would be, if we were still in C, that'd be a C, F, C, G. And that's, again, a very common chord progression in a lot of folk music and a lot of other music too, just because it's easy and there's a lot of variations you can do with the melody. So if we were in G, there's one sharp. So if we were starting with our root key, which is G, it's a G chord, G, A, B, half step to C, D, E, F sharp, we got to go to F sharp because we need that whole step, and then a half step to a G. There you go. The transposing part would come in if we needed that 1-4-1-5 chord progression in the key of G. So if we were to count up that scale that we just did, G, A, B, C would be our major fourth. There we go. And then D, of course, would be our major fifth. So if we put that in a 1-4-1-5 chord progression, G, C, G, D, and that's a very common chord progression. It's pretty fun, so look up some songs with it. It's pretty interesting. Now let's say we were going to take this to a more complex key. Let's say E. E is kind of a tricky key because there are 4 sharps in it. Sorry about that. There we go. Now again, there's a half step in between the 3 and the 4 and the 7 and the 8. So that means E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. And the half step is G sharp to A, that's a 3 to the 4, B, C sharp, D sharp, half step to E. Sorry about this, try it again. There we go. So that's pretty much just your simple tip on that. Now let's say, okay, well, I see that happening, but what if we were going to go a little more tricky here? What if we wanted to put on a capo? Now the capo is basically your little tool to transpose it without having to play any different chords. Because if I was playing a 1-4-1-5 here in the key of G, there you go. Let me turn this off. But what if you wanted to take capo and put it on capo 5? Right there. And there you see it has a very different sound. It's the same chord progression, and it looks like the same chord progression because you are still playing G chords, because you're playing G, C, G, and D. But you're obviously not in the key of G because you're way up here now. You're playing way up on the 5th fret. So the way that works is if you were to assume that open right here This is your normal G, just an open, plain old G. Now if we were to put a capo on the first fret, so we're assuming we're playing up here now, that's a G sharp, because if you see on your keyboard, then there's a black key. I turned off my keyboard. A black key in between G and A, which means you're now in G sharp. Because if you were to take that up to the second fret, you'd be in A. Now guitarists got it easy because you can just put a capo on. A mandolin, you could capo, but it makes it very, very squeaky. So if you were going to play on the second fret, a 1-4-1-5 chord progression without a capo, because let's say you got an instrument that can't be capoed, I can't play G chords because it won't work. You're not in the key of G anymore. Let's just assume that we're having to bar, which you don't do very often on the mandolin either, but that's that. If you're playing open, that's a normal G. If you took it up, G sharp, and one more is A. So then you know, okay, I'm playing 8 chords because we had to take it up 2 times to the second fret. If you put a capo on, it would sound like this. Again, it's kind of high, so I don't tend to do that very often. It's not a rule that you shouldn't do that for a mandolin. It just kind of ruins the sound a little bit. Then you just know that you're playing A chords. So A, D, A, E. There you go. And that's your 1-4-1-5. Because if we were in the key of A on a keyboard, then you would know that you're starting with the A, B, C sharp, half step to D, E, F sharp. Wait a second, I'm sorry. I can't play and talk at the same time. A, B, C sharp, half step to D, E, F sharp, G sharp, half step to A. There you go. And then you count it up and find, okay, D is our 4 chord and E is our 5 chord. So there you go. So now let's say, all right, well, let's say we actually want to play on the 5th fret. So here's your open G. We took it up to the 2nd already. Now let's say we took it up one more to the 3rd. Well, we know that there is a black key in between A and G. A and B, I'm sorry. That means it's A sharp or B flat, because it's technically B flat as well. Which, the funny thing about B flat, it's a very tricky key to play, but it's actually one of the easiest keys to sing in vocally, so that's just your little random tip of the day. There you go. That's B flat. That would be the 3rd fret in the key of G. All right, let's take it to the 5 then. If we were to count up G is open, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then we know that there's no black key in between a B and a C. So that means that we go straight to the 5, and that means that if you're playing on capo 5 with G chords, then you would have the key of C. There you go. So that's your little quick word on capos and transposing. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much.